To follow along with the written version of this pattern and access the printer-friendly interactive PDF with check marks and time codes to keep track of your progress, use the link on screen now, in the description below, or by going to clubcrochet.com/pigeon. Hey there, it's Louie, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to crochet a turkey birb. You heard me right, I said birb with 2 B's. And there's a special reason why I call these guys birbs. These guys have a few special characteristics about them. First characteristic is that you can actually make them pooping. So I'll be teaching you how to make them poop like this. Isn't that just ridiculous? Second perk is that they have magnets stuffed in the base of them so that you can perch them on anything metal, like curtain rods or signposts. And the third special perk is that you can actually turn their heads like this. And the fourth and most important special perk, and why we call these guys birbs, is because they're not actually pigeons. In fact, all these birds are not actually as they seem. Really, they're secret spy birds under the mask of another bird. Isn't that guy silly? So this is I call these guys birbs. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to crochet a pigeon, but also how to turn it into a birb like that. We'll also learn how to make it so that your head is actually attached to the body, so you don't have to make it like this birb version. But I'll be also showing you how to make it so you can remove the head like that. And actually the head holds pretty tight. Before I get going, this is part of a series of bird patterns, as you can see in the background here. There's a bunch of different kinds. I have little owls, a hummingbird, and I'll be coming out with these intermittently. Already the turkey one is out, but I'll be coming out with these very sporadically throughout the next few months. If you want to check out all these patterns right now, go to clubcrochet.com/birb. That's where I'll be putting them all. And let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. That'll help me choose which ones to come out with first. I think my personal favorite is this little barn owl version. And as you can see, he's also a little birb. They're all little birbs. So yeah, I think my favorite's the barn owl or the hummingbird. I tried doing some fun stuff with the neck here, but I might do a version without that also. All right. Well, without further ado, let's talk about the materials that you're going to need for this pattern and get these guys out of the way. For this pattern, I'm using the following materials. I'm using all worsted weight yarn in 100% cotton. I'm using the colors blue, yellow, white, and gray. And I'm using all worsted weight yarn. So because of that, I'm using a size G 4mm crochet hook. You'll also need a darning needle. I suggest using a crimped end darning needle with a little twist at the end there. It helps you get in and out of stitches a little bit better. You'll also need some safety bead eyes. I'm using 6mm safety bead eyes for this pattern. And I'm using 4 safety bead eyes because I'm going to be making the birb version. But if you're just making the one with the head attached, you only need 2. And here you can see what these little safety bead eyes look like. If you want, and you'll need some stuffing. I forgot about that. You'll need just a little bit of stuffing. You don't need that much. Polyfill stuffing works. And then little mini magnets like this. I like these really extra strong magnets because they really hold my little character onto anything metal, which is nice. And if you want to actually get a kit with all the materials that I just mentioned, the exact materials that I'm using in this video, including the magnets, I'll have a link in the description below for that as well. All right. Well, without further ado, let's get hooking. I think I'm going to start with the wings. Okay, and as I go, if you want to follow along and quickly jump to different parts of the pattern, I'm going to have little time codes in the comments below as well, so you can quickly jump in and out from different parts of the pattern. All right, so we're going to start with the wings, and the wings are made all in gray. And actually, we're going to be making the wings and the tail in this part. As you can see, the tail is actually the exact same as the wings, so it's kind of nice. You just need to make all 3 together. And they're fairly easy to make, I have to say. All you have to do is start with a magic loop. Now, if you don't know how to do a magic loop, let me show you really quick. We're going to be using the magic loop a lot in this pattern, so there's a few different ways to do it. My new favorite way is like this. I hold the yarn over my index and middle or thumb like that, so I pinch it down, and then I go around the outside of my two fingers, okay, my two index and middle finger like that, and then back around and cross like that to make a little X on your hand. So you're holding it down, make a little X, go around the back, around your two fingers there, and hold on to this end with your ring and pinky finger like that. See? There you go. Now you're going to take your crochet hook. We're going to go under the first bar and grab onto the second bar like that. We're going to pull that under the first bar and twist it to kind of create a little loop like that. See? Now we're going to grab a hold of this same end. I like using my index finger of my dominant hand to kind of prop it over the crochet hook and then just pull it through the loop that you just made. You might want to do a little scoop like that. It helps you get under that stitch. That's going to create a little chain and help, and now you can take it off of your fingers and it should hold into place. Okay, I'm going to pull this a little bit closer, and as you can see, when you pull this end, it'll close this loop up. All right, so for your wings, it's all done in one row and all done into this magic loop. So we're going to just do a bunch of different stitches into this magic loop. All right, so here are the stitches. I'm going to go pretty slow. First, you want to do a single crochet. So I'm going to go into the magic loop, yarn over and pull a loop through, then yarn over again and pull through 2 loops on the hook. There's our single crochet. Next, we're going to do a half double crochet. For a half double crochet, I'm going to yarn over, go into the hole, go under it and yarn over again with the end, pull that under, and then yarn over a third time and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. That's called a half double crochet. And then we're going to do a double crochet into the magic loop as well. For a double crochet, we're going to yarn over, just like the half double crochet, yarn over, go under the loop, yarn over again and pull that under, then yarn over again and pull through 2 loops on the hook instead of all 3 like the half double crochet. For double crochet, you're just going to pull through just these 2. And then finally, you want to yarn over and pull through the final 2 loops on the hook right there. Okay, so again, that's a single crochet, a half double crochet, and then a double crochet. Now you want to chain 1, so we're going to yarn over and just pull through the loop to make a chain. And we're going to slip stitch into the center right here. For a slip stitch, we're going to go under the loop. You don't need a yarn over or anything, and pull a loop through like that, and pull that same loop through the one on the hook, just like that. That's going to pull it down. So you're basically creating one of the little flaps of the wings. Okay, so again, single crochet, half double, double crochet, chain 1, and slip stitch 1. Next, you want to chain 2. So we're going to yarn over and pull through. So there's 1 chain, yarn over again. There is our second chain. And then under the loop, we're going to do another double crochet. So yarn over, go into the loop right here, pull that under, yarn over again, pull through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over again, pull through the last 2 loops on the hook right there. And now we're going to do that chain 1 and slip stitch into the center again. Okay, that's going to make our second little flap. We're making basically like a 3-leaf clover here. Now our last one, we're going to basically do that first flap backwards. So we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to do the following stitches into the magic loop. We're going to do a double crochet, so we yarn over, into the loop, yarn over and pull under, yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over and pull through 2 for a double crochet. Then a half double crochet, so we yarn over, into the loop, pull through, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops for the half double crochet. And then finally a single crochet into this magic loop. So we yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 2. Okay, now to finish up these wings, we're just going to pull this tail end and it should close everything. You might need to pull it pretty tight. I like to hold it down like this and pull, and it kind of keeps it in place. And you can see how it just makes these 3 little loops, or 3 little flaps like that. Okay, let's just pull it a little bit tighter. Okay, again, Just to reiterate, that's a single crochet, half double, and a double crochet. Then you chain 1 and slip stitch 1. Then you chain 2 and double crochet 1. Then you chain 1 and slip stitch 1. And then finally you chain 2 and you double crochet and then half double crochet and then single crochet. And that is the process there. To finish up these wings, all you have to do is cut the yarn. You want a somewhat long end so that you can sew it onto the body. About that's good. And you don't need to chain 1 or anything. All you need to do is just pull that loop all the way through. I find that's the easiest way for sewing it on later, is just pull it all the way through like that. Okay, now you're going to want to make 3 of these wings. So go ahead and make 3 wings. And I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so the next thing I want to make is the feet. And I'll be using my yellow yarn for this. We're going to start the feet with a slip knot. So we're going to make a loop over it like this. Make sure your tail end is over the other end. We're going to pinch the bottom of it and fold it over on itself like that. We're going to pull this inside loop through, pinch the tail end like this, and it'll create a little slip knot. Place our crochet hook in there, get it tightened. Okay, so the feet are done in 3 different steps. First, we're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now for step 1, you want to pull these chains pretty tight, and that's going to create a little point at the end there. And you want to slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook. So the first chain that you made right here. Now the real trick is you can just slip stitch right into that one like that, but I find it's best if you actually crochet into the back loop. So if you turn it on its side there, you see that little loop right there? You want to get into that one. So it's easiest, I find, to just use your nail, kind of tweak your crochet hook into that back loop. Okay, you don't have to go in that back loop, but I find it's easiest. So again, for step 1, you skip 2 chains, you pull it tight, and into this last chain right here, we want to slip stitch 1. So we get a crochet hook in there, we're going to yarn over, pull it under that loop, and through the loop on the hook like so. That'll make a little slip stitch. There's the end of step 1. For step 2, we want to chain 2, 1 and 2. We want to pull these chains tight, and that'll create another little point. And we're going to slip stitch into that same hole. You can see it's pretty opened right now. It's pretty easy to get into. And we're just going to yarn over and slip stitch. So there's our slip stitch. And for step 3, we want to chain 2, 1 and 2, pull it tight again, and slip stitch one more time into that little hole right there. Okay, there we go. And finally, to finish up these feet, you want to chain 1 like that and cut the yarn, leaving a somewhat long end. You don't need it too long. That's probably good. And we'll just pull it through like that. Okay, and we can just pull these chains tight. Now you might have a little bit of a hole there, but don't worry about that. That's going to be pretty hidden. Now to make these feet look a little bit more like feet, because they're kind of look a little messy right now, I like to just pinch each toe like so. That rhymed. And it makes these little points like that. Okay, so you want to make 2 of these feet. So there's our first one. I'm going to go ahead and make our second one right now. Okay, and then the last thing that we want to make before we move on to the head and body is that we want to make the Birb Beak, this little beak on the inside here. So if you're making the head attached, you don't have to make this, but I am not making the head attached. I'm making the little Birb Body with the removable head. So I'm going to make this Birb Beak. And it's pretty easy. All you need to do is make a slip knot, just like we did before. And we're going to chain 3. So we go 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to half double crochet 1 into the last chain that you made, but working into that back loop, just like how we did on the foot, into that back spine loop right there. So we're going to half double crochet 1, so we yarn over, and then we'll get our crochet hook into that back loop. I find it's easiest just to kind of use your nail to tweak it under like that. And then we yarn over, pull through that back loop, and then yarn over again and pull through all 3 loops on the hook to make a half double crochet. Just like that, really easy. And to finish up this Birb Beak, we just need to chain 1, We can cut the yarn. You don't need too long of an end. That's probably just about fine. And we'll just pull that all the way through like so. There we go. And now we have a birb beak and all our little pieces put together. And now we can move on to the head. Okay, so for the head, I'm going to be using my blue yarn here, but you can make your head in a bunch of different colors. Here's one that I made with pink. Here's another one I actually made with pink. I really like making them with light blue as well. Here's the little head that I've made with light blue. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make it with googly eyes like that, but you can make it without googly eyes as well. Here's a little example of one without googly eyes. Okay, so we're going to start with our blue yarn. And we're going to do a magic loop again. Now, because I taught you how to do the magic loop, I'll go kind of quick. Just make it really quick. There you go. Okay. So for round 1 of the head, we're going to single crochet 6 times into this magic loop. So pretty easy. Go under the loop, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to do 6 of those. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there is our 6th. Okay, you just pull this tail tight, close that hole up. All right, and that's going to be the end of round 1. For round 2, we're going to increase into each stitch around, which means we're going to put 2 single crochets into each one of these stitches. Okay, now for the first 2 stitches, for our first increase, I want to work around this tail end. That'll keep it locked into place just in case so that it won't come undone. So we're going to go ahead and go under these 2 loops. Don't forget that we're going to be crocheting into both loops like that, not into just the front loop or the back loop, but into both of them. We're going to make sure this is over our loop there, and we're going to single crochet 2 into that same stitch to make an increase. So there's our first single crochet, and here is our second single crochet for our first increase. We're going to do 6 of those increases total. Okay, so now that I worked around this tail, I don't need to do that again, but let's do our second increase under these 2 loops right there. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through. There we go. So there's our second increase. Here's our third increase into the next stitch. And this is going to bring you up, I'm just going to move straight onto the 4th stitch. This is going to bring you up from 6 stitches to 12 stitches. Here's our 5th increase in our 9th and 10th stitch. And our final increase right here, 11, and here is our 12th stitch. Okay, I'm going to pull this a little bit tighter. All right, so that's going to be the end of round 2. For round 3, we're going to be doing a repeat all the way around that will bring you up from 12 stitches to 15. So to do that, we're going to do 3 single crochets. So a single crochet into the next 3 stitches. So here we'll go in the first stitch. There's 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to do an increase into that next stitch right there. So 2 single crochets into that next stitch. 4 and 5. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then 4 and 5 are an increase. Now we're going to repeat that process of 3 single crochets and then an increase 3 times total. Okay, so let's do it our second repeat. 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and then an increase, 4 and 5. Okay, and let's do our last repeat right here, 3 single crochets, and that's going to bring you up from 12 stitches to 15 stitches. So you should have 15 stitches by the end of round 3 here. This is going to be our last one. There are 3 single crochets, and here's our last increase. There we go. That's going to be the end of round 3. Now before I start round 4, I want to take this little tail end and thread it on a needle, and we want to pull it straight through the top. And this is just going to create a little tuft on the top of the head, which I think is really cute and a great way to hide this end in too. So we're going to go straight through the top, like that. And we can cut it somewhat close, like, let's go like right there. Okay, this is going to create a little tuft on the top of the head. Okay, now we're on to round 4. For round 4, we're just going to be single crocheting into each stitch around. You should have 15 stitches around, so that's a pretty easy round. We're just going to go ahead and just do single crochets all the way till you get to the beginning again. There's 15 total. Now before you go through your last stitch, make sure to take a pause because we are going to be making the eyes and nose in the next round, and it can be a little bit tricky. Also, if you haven't yet, please consider liking and subscribing to this channel. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. I come out with patterns like this all the time. So make sure to subscribe and like this video. It helps spread it out a little bit further. Okay, so we're on our last stitch right there. And I'm going to stop before I pull through with our blue yarn because we want to lock in white yarn so that we can continue on and make the eyes. Now again, if you don't want to make the eyes and you want to just make him just have eyes, just basic eyes like that, then don't use these white stitches. Okay, but this round is a little bit tricky. You need to do, we're going to be adding the eyes and the beak. And both the eyes are using a special stitch called the mini bobble stitch, and the beak is using a special stitch called the spiked stitch. Of course, I'm going to be teaching you how to do these in this video, but just heads up, it can be a little bit tricky, so take it nice and slow. Okay, so first up, we're going to be doing the bobble stitch eyes. So I like to pull through with our blue yarn to lock this white yarn into place, like that. Instead of pulling through with white yarn, I like pulling through with the blue. And for our next stitch, we're going to be doing our mini bobble stitch. Okay, and again, we are on round 5 if you're following along in the written version of the pattern. So for a mini bobble stitch, we're going to take our white yarn, we'll let go of the blue for a sec, and we're just going to yarn over and go into the next stitch right here. And we're going to yarn over again and pull through that next stitch. And then we're going to yarn over again and pull through 2 loops on the hook. Just 1, 2, like so. There we go. So that is the beginning right there. And we're just going to repeat that same process 3 times total. So it's kind of like half of a double crochet 3 times into the same stitch. So let's do a second repeat. We yarn over, go into the exact same stitch right here, yarn over and pull a loop through, then yarn over and pull through 2. There's our second repeat. Let's do one more. Yarn over, go into that exact same stitch, yarn over again and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2. Okay. Now you should have 4 loops on the hook, 3 that are white and 1 that's blue. Now you can change over to this blue yarn. To change over, I just kind of flip it under like that. Oops, like that. Yarn over with blue and pull that through all the loops on the hook like so. Okay, that's going to be how to make your mini bobble stitch. Next, we're going to single crochet into the next stitch right here, like that. Now, before we pull through and tighten up, we want to make sure that we're crocheting around this white yarn, but we also want to make sure that we're crocheting around a strand of yellow yarn because we're next going to be doing our beak. Now, again, if you want to make your eyes without this bobble stitch, then you would just do a regular blue single crochet there. Okay, so now we're going to pull through and we're crocheting around a new yellow end and we're crocheting around this white end. So pull through to finish that single crochet. And you'll see that yellow just slightly through. Don't worry about that. Now I like pulling my white yarn just off to the side, holding it down with my finger right there and just keeping it off to the side like so as we do our next stitch right here. Because this next stitch is probably the most complicated part of this pattern. So make sure to take it really slow. And if you have any additional questions about the stitch we're about to do, which I call the spiked bobble or SBO for short, I have a video tutorial just for it. You can find it by going to clubcrochet.com/spikedbobble. Okay, so it starts just like the mini bobble. We're going to do that repeat that I just mentioned. So we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch right here, and then yarn over again and pull that loop through. Then yarn over a third time and pull through 2 loops on the hook. And we're going to repeat that one more time. So yarn over, go into that same stitch, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, now here's where it's different and really kind of difficult. We're going to chain 2 with these stitches all on the crochet hook still. We need to yarn over and chain 2 just through this first loop. So 1 and 2. I find it's best to like pinch right there at the base. It helps me get that chain pulled through. So you chain 2, and then into the back loop of that first chain that you made, you want to slip stitch 1. So if you look right like that, see that little end right there? That's where we want to slip stitch into. That's the back loop. So you want to keep your crochet hook on these stitches. Just get it right to the edge right there, and use your nail to kind of prop that back loop over the stitch like so. And we want to slip stitch into that back loop to make a mini peacock. So we're going to yarn over and pull that through that chain and then through the first loop on the hook. Just the first one, just like that. That's going to create a little spike like so. Okay. And the last step for this spiked bobble is we want to yarn over and go into the exact same stitch one more time right here. Yarn over again, pull a loop through, and then yarn over again and pull through 2 loops on the hook. It's one more repeat of that double crochet thing, just like that. Okay, now you should have 4 loops on the hook total. And to finish up this, we want to switch over to our blue yarn like so. I just kind of like flip it under, yarn over with our blue yarn or whatever color you're using, and pull it through all the loops on the hook. And that will finish up that little spiked bobble. Okay, now into the next stitch after your beak is done, we want to single crochet 1. So we're going to yarn over and pull through. Now you want to make sure this single crochet is around our yellow yarn and our white yarn. So you can pull our white yarn back over now, and we can single crochet around both the yellow and the white. So we're going to yarn over, pull through like that. And we could pull I like to pull my yellow yarn a little tighter now, and I'll just keep it off to the side. We can cut it, but I'm going to just hold it off to the side and cut it after I do my next stitch. Okay. Now I want to do one more mini bobble into this next stitch. Again, if you don't want to add mini bobbles, then just single crochet in blue, but I'm going to do one more of those mini bobbles in white. So I'm going to yarn over with white, go into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2, and repeat that 3 times. There's 1, into the stitch, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. There's 2, and 1 more, yarn over into the stitch, yarn over and pull through, then yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, a little bit of a cat hair I think there. My cat's been sleeping in this in this light box. All right, and to finish up this second eye, we're going to switch over to our blue yarn, yarn over and pull under all the loops on the hook like so, and we're going to single crochet into the next stitch, working around this white yarn just to lock it into place. Okay, and we can pull that white yarn tight, make sure everything's pulled nice and tight. Okay, and now we can cut the white yarn, and we can cut the yellow yarn. Somewhat close, not too close, but that's just about fine. Okay, now let's finish up this round here, and then I'll let's just finish up the round. The rest of this round is just single crochets all the way to the end of this round. I believe it is 10 more single crochets all in your main color. So we're just going to single crochet into the next stitches all in our main color. Just all the way till we get to the end of this round. Okay, there we go. All right, and that's going to be the end of round 5 and probably the trickiest round in this whole pattern. So if you made it past that round, great job. It's all downhill from here, in my opinion. Okay, so for the next 5 rounds. That's rounds 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 5 rounds total. We're just going to be single crocheting into each stitch all the way around. So just one single crochet into each stitch. Make sure to work into both loops of all these blue V's around there. And there should be 15 stitches around. So I'm just going to go into that first one right there and just single crochet all the way around for 5 rounds total. So 5 rounds of just single crochets. And again, if you like this video, here's my second plea. I'm going to give you 3 pleas throughout this whole video. The second plea, please like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't. Click the little bell icon to get notified when I come out with new patterns. And if you really like my videos, consider becoming a Club Crochet member. Members get early access to future videos like this pattern. They also get access to exclusive patterns like all the Birbs that you saw in the beginning of this video. Club Crochet members get access to all those patterns and a bunch more. Every pattern that I come out with, Club Crochet members get access to. Also, Club Crochet members get kits mailed directly to their door with all the materials that they need to make whatever pattern we're making that month. This month, people got to choose between this pigeon pattern and a turkey Birb. So here's the turkey for reference. So this month, members got to choose between both of those patterns, whichever kit they wanted. Memberships start at only $5 a month, and you can even get a free trial if you want to just try it out, see if it's something that's interesting to you, and if not, you can cancel at any time. You can learn more by going to clubcrochet.com, and it's pretty easy to create a membership or create an account and sign up for a membership if you're interested in that. You also can get international shipping now for members. So if you want to get the kits and you are in a different time zone or different country, you can now get the kits. That's pretty new to the website. And also you can now purchase kits in bulk. Purchase memberships in bulk. So you can get a whole year-long membership, and it only costs $50 for a whole year. So I think it's a pretty good deal. You also get discounts in the shop for additional kits. So if you want to purchase this kit in my shop right now, if you have a membership, you actually get $5 off. So instead of $20, it's only $15 for this kit. Yeah, so members get a bunch of extra stuff. And the best part about being a member is that you support this channel, which I so appreciate. So thank you so much for anybody that's a member. You help me make my dreams come true and get me one step closer to being able to crochet for a living, to actually be a professional hooker, which has been my goal ever since high school. So thank you so much to everybody that has a Club Crochet membership. You mean the world to me, and I truly, truly appreciate you. Okay, so we're coming up on the end of our 5 rounds of single crochets. Look how quick that was. Just quickly, just pew pow, did it. And here is going to be the end, our last stitch right here. And I can tell I did 5 rounds really quickly by just counting the stitches above the eye. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the eye was our first stitch. So that's how I can easily count those 5 rounds of single crochets. Now, if you want to, you can make this even longer. I have done a, this guy's so silly. I've done an extra long pigeon just because I thought it was really, really funny. So you can make it super duper long if you wanted to, by just repeating those rounds of single crochets. But I would suggest making the face before if you want to make it even longer. Okay, so our last round before we move on and make the face and the body and stuff is that we want to make this little frill on the bottom of the pigeon's head. So to do that, all you need to do is we're going to be working into the front loops for all of these stitches. And what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1, and we're going to slip stitch into the front loop only. Okay, so only into that front loop right there, just like that. We're going to slip stitch into that. There we go. And you want to repeat that all the way around, into each stitch around. There's going to be 15 slip stitches total. So again, that's chain 1. So yarn over and chain 1, and then go into the next stitch right here, into the front loop only, and slip stitch 1. We're just going to keep going. Chain 1, slip stitch 1. We'll just keep going all the way around. This is relatively easy. Not too bad. Now, when we get to the end of this round, you're going to have the option to make it with your head separate or with the Birb body connected. So if you want to make just a straight up pigeon, a boring old pigeon, then now is your chance. But if you want to make the Birb body and the head separated, it's after this round where you'll be able to make that decision. Okay, so I'm just coming to the end here. This is a nice little frill. Just a simple little frill. Okay. Chain 1, slip stitch 1, chain 1. Here's our last one. We're going to slip stitch 1 right here. Okay. Now, regardless if you want to make the head attached or not, now is when you want to probably hide this end in. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the yarn. You don't need too long of an end. That's probably just fine. And you just pull that all the way through like so. And we're going to take our needle. We're going to thread it onto the end of this right here. Just like that. And we're going to hide the end into the first chain that we made. So what I do is I take my yarn or my needle and I go into, that's our first chain that we made. The first V that's closest to you right there. You want to go in through the top of it, like so. Don't pull it too tight. And what you want to do is you want to go in through where this yarn is coming out. So I just go straight in through that yarn that's coming out. And we're just going to kind of hide it up the body. Like that. Just into a few stitches. You don't need to be too fancy with it. Now if you pull this a little bit tighter, there we go. It's going to mimic the other stitches and it's hard to tell where the end is and where the beginning is. So now you can cut the yarn really close, just like that. Let's add the face, and then I'll show you how you can continue on if you want to. Now, the first thing that you want to do for adding the face is we want to add the safety eyes. So we're going to grab these safety eyes right here. And there are a bunch of different ways that you can add your safety eyes into these bobble stitches. I usually, here's one where he's looking just like straight up like that. I think that one's pretty cute. I usually like making them so that they're facing different ways, kind of like that. Or here's one on the turkey where he's really looking different ways. He just looks so goofy when you do that. But yeah, you can do a bunch of different ways to do this. Now, what you want to do is you want to take your needle and you want to, I like flipping them upside down like this. I find it just makes it a little bit easier. But you want to go in between one of these ends here for your eyes. Okay, and you want to do the same thing on both sides. You're going to go in between one of these ends. Now, I'm going to try to make mine more on the outside. So I want to go on the outside of the eye right here. But if I wanted to go on the inside, I'd go right here. So it would be more cross-eyed, see? So if I put the eye right there, he'd be looking that way. If I put the eye right here, he'll be looking that way. And you can make it go up or down or up. So if I go further down right here, then he'll be more looking down and out. If I go right here, he'll be more looking out and up. But I'm going to make him down and out like this. So I'm going to go in between these stitches right there. And I want to take my needle, go all the way in there, and get it almost to the end. And then I like to twist the end of my needle like that, which should create a little bit of a gap. So you can kind of see that gap right there. That's where we're going to put the eye. So I'm going to take my eye, just like that, place it in between the two there, just kind of wiggle it until it goes through the other side. Be patient with that. Okay, so there's our first eye. Now let's do another one on the other side, and I want to make it similar in spacing. And I always do both eyes before I connect the back, because once you have it connected, you can't undo this. So let's go ahead and try the other eye, and I want it also on the outside, so I'm going to go right here. If I want it on the inside, I'd want it right there. So let's go right here. Okay, just on the very end there, and I'm just going to twist, twist, twist. I actually want it a little bit lower, so let's go a little bit like right there. There. See a little gap? Take our eye, get it right into that gap, just wiggle it till it goes into the body. Okay, oh, that's perfect. Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, so now that's one of the best ones I've done, I think. Okay, so now the next thing you want to do is you want to take the little backing things and you want to go on the inside and just connect the backs. Now, it's kind of hard to see. It's a lot easier to feel. You can kind of see the back right there. That's what we want to get it onto. Just like that. Push it kind of tight. Okay. Make sure to flatten that bobble stitch a little bit. And here's the other one. Go on the back. Kind of tight. You know, don't go too overboard with the tightness. But yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is, well, first, before I go to the next part, if you want to customize your eyes, I have a few different versions of this. Here you can kind of see I have these little things on top of it. Makes your guy look a little sad. So I'm working on a tutorial right now for how to customize your eyes. I'm not going to be doing, look how angry and grumpy this guy looks. He's like, did you seriously just wake me up? So I'm going to be coming out with a tutorial for how to customize your eyes. And you can find that tutorial when it's out by going to clubcrochet.com/eyes. And now's a perfect time to say subscribe to the channel and push the notifications bell. That's going to be the quickest way to find it when it's free. But if you want to find it, it's going to be out earlier for membership accounts. You can also go to clubcrochet.com/eyes to learn how to customize your eyes with little things like this. And there's a bunch of videos there that help you learn how to customize your eyes. So if you want to learn how to customize them like that, that is where you should go, clubcrochet.com/eyes. Okay, let's get these guys out of the way. And the last thing that I want to do for our face is we want to add a little white over the nose there. Sometimes you can use black. I don't have one that's got black on it actually out right now, but you can also add black on the top there and it'll help add that too. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of white yarn. You don't need too much. It's probably just fine. Okay, that's actually probably more than we need, but that's okay. I'm just going to thread it onto a needle and go from the inside. You want to go just on. I'm going to show you from the outside just because it's a little easier to show you with the needle. But you want to go through this stitch right here, but you want it to be just a little bit higher. See where there's that yellow yarn that's in between? You want to go above that yellow yarn. That way it's more towards the top of the nose. So I'm just going to pull it through the top, make it a little easier, and just pull that through and thread the other end. Makes it a little bit easier to show you. And then through the other side, the same thing. You want to go through the top right here. Okay, so not through there, right there. And you want to repeat that one more time. I'm going to thread this on the needle. Now I am going to have to go through the inside. And you want to come out through the inside from the same stitch. I like to double it up. So just like that. Same stitch right there. Pull it out. And go, make sure it's pilled up a little bit and go over it again, go back down through the same place. All right. Okay, and now you can just double knot these two white ends on the inside and try not to pull it too tight. Try not to like tighten it really, really tight when you double knot it, but we do need to double knot it, so we'll just go ahead and pull that. And I kind of like use my finger and I push the knot down like that. Kind of helps me guide it into place. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay. Now, finally, you just want to cut these ends on the inside like that. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to connect the head if you want the head connected, but if you don't want to connect the head, just disregard what I'm about to show you. So what we're going to do to connect the head is we're going to make a slip knot with gray yarn, like that. And you want to find your first stitch that you made. You want to find the first back loop that you made. Now I find the best way to do this is just to count backwards from back loops. So that's the last back loop right there. You want to count. There should be 15 of them. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that'll be the first one. It kind of doesn't look like it's that one, but it is that one. That's why I count backwards, because it looks like that one's the first one, but really it's this one. So what you want to do is you want to pull this end through that back loop. So we want to go into that back loop right here, yarn over with the end here, and just pull that through. And what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch chain one with our gray yarn like that, and single crochet into that same stitch that you worked into that back loop. So single crochet into that back loop just like that. Okay, that's going to be your first single crochet, and you're going to continue on from round 6 of the Birb Body. So if you want to quickly jump to where I'm going to continue, there should be a time code down below, but you're going to continue into starting in round 6. Now round 6 of the body is going to be single crochet 4 and then increase 1 and repeat that 3 times around. And you're going to work all of those stitches into that back loop. Okay, so into all these back loops. When you get back around to the end here, you're going to continue working starting into that first single crochet that you made right there. That's how you're going to do it if you want to connect the head. But like I said, I'm not going to connect the head. I'm going to be making our Birb Body separate. So we're going to just go ahead and toss that to the side. We'll keep our little head there watching us as we continue on into the Birb Body. Okay. So now we're onto the Birb Body, and you're going to start with a magic loop, and we're going to be using our gray yarn for this. Let's clean our station a little bit. And I'm just going to start again with the magic loop. Now the first 2 rounds of the Birb Body are the exact same as the first 2 rounds for the head. So I'm going to go a little bit quick for this. We're going to start by single crocheting 6 times into the magic loop for round 1. So just like how we did on the head, we'll just single crochet into the magic loop 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, there you go. Now we're just going to pull this a little bit tighter, nice and close, like that. And for round 2, we're going to be doing exactly what we did for the head. We're going to be doing an increase into each stitch around. But for the first increase that we make right here, we're going to work around this tail end. So we're going to do an increase around the tail end. So 1 and 2. There's our first increase. We're going to do 6 increases total, an increase into each stitch around. That's going to bring you up from 6 stitches to 12 stitches. So there's our second increase. There's our third, fourth, fifth, and here is our 6th increase, and you should have 12 stitches around now. Okay, let's keep this tail end to the side. I'm just going to pull this a little tighter. Okay. So now for rounds 3 and 4 of the Birb Body, we want to single crochet into each stitch around. For 2 rounds total, just single crochet into each stitch. And again, there still should be 12 stitches around. So single crochet for 12 stitches for 2 rounds. Nice and easy. Now I've been making, as you can see, I have a lot of these pigeons here. I want to give a bunch of them away for Christmas to just friends and family. Okay, so there's round 3 done. I'm going to continue into round 4 and just keep doing our single crochets. But I also want to just start hiding these all around town. I live in San Francisco, California, And so I want to I think it'd be really fun to just hide these pigeons all around San Francisco and let people just discover them. Be like, what is that? And then I think it'd be so funny if they discover the pigeon and then they pull it down or something, and then they realize that the head is not attached. I think it'd be so funny. But the problem is it's kind of rainy right now, so I think I need to do that when it's not so rainy. Oopsies, I went a little bit far. There we go. So that's the end of round 4. Okay, so for round 5, we want to do what we did for round 3 of the head, and that again is single crochet 3. So 3 single crochets, so 1, 2, and 3, and then increase 1. And there's 4 and 5 for our increase. So that's single crochet 3 and then increase 1, and repeat that 3 times total. Okay, so let's do our second repeat. That was our first, so let's do our second. 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then another increase right here. And this should bring you up from 12 stitches, let's do our last repeat right here, to 15 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and here's our last 2 stitches, our last increase. Okay, now you should have 15 stitches around, and we're at the end of round 5. For round 6, we're going to be increasing up to 18 stitches. Now this is the round that you're going to be catching up to if you're attaching the head. So hello again if you are making the head attached. Welcome back. So we're going to single crochet 4 times and then increase 1. So let's do 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 1 increase right here. That's going to be 5 and 6. And we're going to repeat that process 3 times total, so 2 more times. Let's do 4 single crochets again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oopsies, lost my hook. There we go. And then an increase. 5 and 6. Okay, 1 more repeat of that. And this is going to bring you up from 15 stitches to 18 stitches. So you should have 18 stitches by the end of round 6 here. And then our final increase right there. Okay, and that's going to be the end of round 6. Okay. Now for round 7, by the way, if you are keeping the head connected, don't forget to work into the first single crochet that you made starting here. So you don't need to like slip stitch 1, chain 1, or whatever. You can just keep working around in a spiral, working into those gray stitches that you just made. Okay, so for round 7, we're going to single crochet 11 and then increase 1. So single crochet 11 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Now you're going to increase 1. So there's 1 and 2 in the same stitch for an increase. And then you're going to single crochet 2 more. So 1 and 2, and then another increase. Okay, there's 2, and then 2 more single crochets. 1 and 2. Get that crochet hook a little bit out. And then finally, 1 last increase into that last stitch. 1 and 2. And again, just to repeat that pattern, that's 11 single crochets, an increase, 2 single crochets, another increase, 2 more single crochets, and then finally 1 last increase. And that's going to bring you up to 21 stitches. So you should have 21 stitches by the end of round 7 here. Okay, so for round 8, we are just going to be doing a single crochet in each stitch around. And again, there should just be 21 stitches. So I'm just going to go ahead and quickly do those single crochets into each stitch all the way around. And if you have crocheted one of these pigeons, I would love to see it. I'm a huge fan of these pigeons, and I would love to see if you have actually crocheted one as well. I'm never sure how many people actually end up crocheting my patterns unless they actually send me a picture. So if you want to send me a picture, you can post it on Instagram with hashtag clubcrochet. You can also post it on, or you can tag me. I'm at club.crochet, or you can tag me directly. I'm at Louie's Loops. That's what I go by personally, but the Club Crochet channel is at club.crochet on Instagram. And you can also join the Facebook group. We have a Facebook group where people share pictures. That is a great way to share it. And finally, you can email me directly if you really want to. I'm louie@clubcrochet.com if you want to just share a picture that way. Okay, so that's the end of round 8, our single crochets into each stitch around. There's going to be 21 total. Now I'm going to be adding the face for our little burb. So if you have, if you're making the head knot, or the head attached, just skip this part and jump right to round 9. I'll put a little time code right there for round 9. Okay, so if you are making the burb, we're going to be adding our face now. And we're going to start by adding the beak. So I'm going to grab our beak, which is one of these. There we go. And there is a top and a bottom to this beak. This is actually the bottom, and that is the top. It's kind of hard to tell the difference, but if you look at the V's, they'll be slightly pointing up, and that'll be the top. Okay, so I'm going to thread the right side of the beak first. And the beak goes in a very specific place. It goes into round 4 into stitches 3 and 5. But, and so you can count from the top around 4, stitches 3 and 5. But I find the easiest way to add this is just look for the first increase that you make. Let's hold it upside down, I'll show you. So if you look up here and you follow these stitches, you'll see one of these stitches is an increase. You can tell it's this one because it's 2 V's going into the same exact stitch right there. There's another one, 2 V's into the same stitch. There's 1 V going into 1 stitch. There's 1. So this is our first increase. So what you want to do is you want to crochet it kind of around this increase. So we want to go into this stitch and to this stitch. This will be stitch 3. This will be stitch 5. Now I'm going to start with stitch 5 because I'm crocheting it so the top is facing. So I'm going to take that end, go out that stitch right there. And then we're going to go into this stitch right here, skip the one that the increase is into. We'll thread the other end on our needle. Just pull that through. And what you want to do is on the inside, you want to pull these ends enough so that, see that little knot popping through? That's exactly what you want. You want to pull it enough so that each of the knots pop through the stitches. Now you might want to pull it from pretty close and be very careful with this so you don't accidentally break your yarn. But just like that, so those 2 knots are pulled through, and then double knot it on the inside. 1 and 2. Okay. Now we can cut these ends nice and close, like that. And we'll just toss that to the side. Okay. Now we want to add our eyes, and I always add my eyes 1 stitch away to each of the parts of this beak. I'm going to take our eye, we're going to go 1 stitch away, so right there. Staying on the same round so that the beak and the eyes are even. There's one right there. Okay, so you can see that's just 1 stitch away for each eye. And then just take the inside part of the eye and we'll just lock it into place. Ooh, that was a satisfying click. Oh, another one. That was great. It sounded like I was cracking my back or something. Okay. Put this to the side. And the last thing that you want to do for adding the face here is that you want to take this tail end from the very beginning and we want to go through the top just like how we did on the head. So just through the very top of the head right here, straight through the top. I'm going to pull that end through. And we can cut it somewhat close, about like, boom, about like that. Okay. All right. So now that we had the head sewn or put together, we can continue crocheting the body. Okay, so we're on to round 9 now of the body. And for round 9, we're going to be doing 11 single crochets and then an invisible decrease. So let's start with our 11 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 7 and 8, 9, 10, here is 11. Now you want to do an invisible decrease. For an invisible decrease, we're going to go into the front loops of the next 2 stitches, so only the front loop like that of the next 2 stitches. So I like to do it 1 stitch at a time. So there's our first front loop, then I kind of whip my crochet hook around, get into that second front loop, and then I'm going to do a single crochet into both of those front loops. So we're going to yarn over, go under those front loops like that. Really try to do a scoop. That makes it a little easier. And then yarn over and pull through those 2 loops for a single crochet. That's called an invisible decrease. It like subtly pulls it in. Okay, so now you want to continue on in round 9. 2 more single crochets. So into both loops for these single crochets. So we've got 1 and 2. And then another invisible decrease into the front loop, and then front loop. There's our second invisible decrease. And then 2 more single crochets. 1 and 2. And then 1 final invisible decrease. There's 3 invisible decreases total. So there's our final one right there. And that's going to bring you down from 21 stitches back down to 18. So you kind of see how it's coming back down in the back here. So that is going to be the end of round 9. Okay. So for round 10, we're going to be doing a single crochet into the first stitch and then an invisible decrease into the next. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. So let's do our first single crochet. There's our first single crochet right there. And then an invisible decrease. So we go front loop and front loop. Yarn over, pull through 2. So we're going to repeat that 6 times total. So single crochet, invisible decrease. We'll keep doing that. That's going to bring you down from 18 stitches. Here's our first single crochet. Here's our invisible decrease. It's going to bring you down from 18 to 12. So there's another one. Single crochet. This will be a third repeat. And invisible decrease. Okay. Here's our fourth. Single crochet. Invisible decrease. Just a few more. Invisible decrease. And here's our last one. Single crochet and invisible decrease. Okay, now you should have 12 stitches around. I'm going to pull my loop out a little bit and we're going to sew on the wings and the feet and stuff. We're going to start by sewing on the wings. So we're going to go ahead and grab our wings here. And there is a top and a bottom to these wings. This is going to be the top and that is going to be the bottom. You can sew it on the other way around if you'd like to, but I like it personally, the top and the bottom like that. And there are very specific places that I like to put these wings. The first is we'll thread the, let's start by threading the inside. So there should be 2 ends here, one coming out of a stitch like that and one coming straight through the center. Let's thread the center one first. And with that center one, we want to go, if you follow the eye straight down like that, you go 1 stitch over right here. Right there is where you're going to want your first stitch. Now technically that is into the first stitch into round, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It'd be the first stitch in round 7. So right there. Okay, that's where you want the inside part. Now we can thread the other end. And I have a kind of a fun way to sew these wings on. Just thread that on there better. There we go. And you want to go 1 stitch over from where you went in, so right here, and then up 1 stitch up right there. And then you want to go around the first stitch on the wing right here, under both of those loops, around that, and then back through that same spot that you went out, and then come back out through where you started right there. So you're kind of going back and forth. Pull that tighter. And then you want to finally go back through the front, the 2 loops on the first single crochet right there. So that's where your yarn is coming out of. That's where you went in. Then you want to go around these 2. And we'll do this again in just a second on the other side. And go back through where you came out of originally right there. That holds it down really nice, just like that. And we'll do that again on the other side in just a second. Kind of see how it looks from the top too. We'll just double knot both of these ends. On the other side, the stitches are different, but the technique is the exact same. Okay. There we go. We'll cut those ends on the inside. We'll toss that to the side. And let's do the other wing. We're going to thread the middle one first. And for the other wing, we're going to go, this is where you want the the outside stitch, we want it to go here and here. So we want the inside one to go right here. So that is, I'm not sure which stitch exactly it is, but if you count from the eye and you go all the way up, it'll be 3 stitches away. So if you count up from the eye, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2 over right there. That's going to be where the first part of the wing will go in. Like that. And then now we want to thread the other end of this wing. And we're going to go 1 stitch up, starting up right here, and then coming out through 1 stitch over, like that. Like so. And then you want to go under both of these loops of your wing, back into that same stitch you came out of right there, go back into that one and come back out through where you started right there. Right there. Pull it a little tighter. And then finally go under both of these loops of the wing and back down through the same stitch you came out of right here. First stitch. There we go. We can pull it tight. Pull it tight. The wing should be sewn on pretty well. Yeah, looking great. All right, now we can just double knot these 2 ends on the inside. There we go. And then finally, for the tail, well, actually that's not the last thing, because we do need to also sew on the little feet. But we can move on to the tail first. And we'll do the same thing. We'll thread the inside one first, right here. And the inside one is going to go on the back. Here is our final decrease, or like one of the decreases on the back. I go through right here. I try to make it as even as I can. Right like there. Like that. Okay, just a couple of stitches above the end right there. And then thread the other end. And with the other end, I go through the stitch below it. So this is where you're going in. You want to go in through this stitch right here, and then out through the one right across. And then do what we did on the wings before. So we're going to go into both of these ends, into where you came out, and then back out through where you started and you went in, like that. Pull it tight, and then down through the 2 loops right here, back in through the body, Pull that tight. See how that tail gets sewn on? And then we can just double knot these on the inside. 1 and 2. Like that. Toss those over to the side. Okay, and then the last thing I want to sew on are the little feeties. Little feeties. Oh, I just realized we have this weird little fuzz on screen. Oh well. Okay, so the feet, there is a top and a bottom. This is the bottom of it. Technically, it's kind of the top, but really that's the bottom. You can tell because it just looks worse than the bottom, than the top. So that's the side you want to really sew on. So we're going to sew it like this. And we're going to thread, let's thread this end first. And the feet just go on just the bottom of the body right here, just under the wing. So it's going to go into this stitch, into this stitch. We want each of our ends into one of those 2 stitches. So because I want it to be sewn on like this, and I have this right side threaded first, I'm going to go start by going through this stitch right here, and then thread our other end, and go in through the stitch to the left of that right there, like that. And what's really important is you want to pull it tight enough so that each of the knots pull through. See, so there's their first knot. There's our second knot. We want to really make sure those knots are pulled through. Be careful not to break the yarn by accident, or you'll have to redo the feet. And we'll just double knot it on the inside. There's 1 and 2. Okay, we can cut those kind of close. Throw that to the side. There's our first foot, and we want to do 1 more foot on the other side. And here is our next 2 stitches that I want to work into. I want to work into, let's see. Yeah, we want to work into right here and right here. So it's just under the other foot, or other wing. Let's grab this end here. Okay, here is the top, and here is the bottom. You can see the bottom looks significantly weirder than the top. So we want to sew it on like this. So let's thread this right side first. There's our first one, and then 1 stitch over right here. There is our second, and there we go. Like that. We want to make sure both of those knots are pulled through on the inside. So there's the first knot. There's the second knot. You can just barely see them popping out through. And we'll just double knot them on the inside. 1 and 2. Okay. Cut the ends here. Toss that to the side. Okay. Now before I do our last round of our body here, I want to stuff the head just a little bit so we can get above, you can barely see them in there. You want to get just above the eyes with some regular stuffing. So I'm just going to grab some stuffing. You don't need very much, but that's probably fine. Just a little bit. You just want to get over the eyes with that stuffing so that his head actually has stuffing into it. Okay, just over the eyes, just like that. Okay, and now we can continue on to our last round of the body. Now for the last round of the body, we're on round 11. There we go. We want to do a sharp decrease into each stitch around. Now, a sharp decrease is different than an invisible decrease because it really pulls it close and tight to help you sew it in. So what you want to do is you want to take your crochet hook. We're going to do 6 of these total all the way around. We're going to go into the first stitch right here as if we're doing a single crochet, yarn over and pull it through. Now we're going to go into the next stitch right here. So this next stitch over, pull a second loop through that second stitch and pull that second loop that you pulled through the 2 on the hook like that. Okay, so it's going to really pull it down. We're going to do that 6 times total. So there's our first. So let's do a second one. Into the next stitch, pull through, into the next stitch right here, pull a second loop through, pull that second loop through the 2 on the hook. There's 2. 1, 2, boop. There's our third. And as I get closer, I like to pinch it. It helps me get into our stitches a little bit easier. 3, or that's 4 rather. Here's our 5th. Oopsies. There we go. And here is our last one, our 6th stitch. 1 and 2. There we go. Now we can cut the yarn like that. Pull that all the way through. And now I like to stuff our inside with all these little ends first, so I don't have too much waste. And sometimes I got to do it a little slower. So let's go ahead and I'm going to use the back of my crochet hook to get these into our body right there. But this way you have the least amount of waste as possible. Okay, so there's our first bit. It's a great way to save on stuffing. Okay, our second bit. And then now I want to just add a little bit more stuffing on into the inside, just at the bottom of him. I like to finish off with some regular stuffing usually, because it kind of fills in the corners that you weren't able to get with that yarn. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and then the last thing you want to do before we sew it all the way closed is we want to add in our magnets. So again, I like using these 3 little mini magnets. They fit perfectly on the inside, just like that. Boop. And we're going to take our needle, thread the end. And this is a newer way that I've been using to sew our pieces closed. And what I basically do is I take my needle and I go through the front loops of all the stitches around in our last round here. So just through that front loop, go front loop. There's our second front loop. And just keep going all the way around. Okay, one more right here. And once you have all those front loops in, you can just pull it, and it should just close that up, all magic-like. Here we go. Now you can take this end, we'll just go somewhere into the body. We'll come out, I don't know, right here is fine. Doesn't really matter that much. And we can just cut the end nice and close, like so. There we go. Now, before I put the head back on, the last thing that I usually like to do is we can add some poop. That sounds funny, but it's true. And here's basically how we do it. We're gonna see, kind of like put it on into the head so that we can stuff it under the mask when we do. So what I do is first let's create a knot on the end here. I just create a little knot, one, so that it doesn't come out of our stitches. I do a double knot. That. And now we can thread the other end that doesn't have the knot on it. And you want to come out, let's go ahead and just go right through where the butt is right there and come out basically through where the top is, like right like that. Pull it almost like all the way till it won't go any further. And then you want to make another knot on the end of this side, double knot, so it doesn't come out when you pull it. 1, 2, there's our double knot. We'll cut it close-ish, but that's probably close enough. We'll cut the bottom, same thing. We'll cut it pretty close like that. So it's hidden there. And then I like to put just a little bit of stuffing into the head here. Just a little bit, just to keep the head, give the head some shape when it's on the Birb. Just do a little bit more right there. And we can just put this in and toss it on the head. I like to go under the beak and then kind of like twist it onto the head. And now, there we go. We've got a little pigeon birb. And now you can just pull this end and boom, he poops. Oh, that's so funny. I'm sorry if I laughed super loud there. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you like these, let me know which of these Birbs to do next, and you can check out more of these Birbs. Here's a little hummingbird without the red. Let me just go ahead and start grabbing them, adding to the page here. Let me know which one you think is your favorite in the comments down below. This one's mine, I think, is the owl or the hummingbird. I don't know. I love them both. They're so cute. Here's the eagle. The head came off of the eagle. There we go. Let's see. You can find these all by going to clubcrochet.com/Birb. This was my first attempt at an owl, and I think he's okay. I think he needs a little another version. And the last one I have so far is a turkey. I want to do a few different kinds. I'm thinking of doing like a swan. If you have any other ideas for other Birbs that you want me to add, I'm thinking maybe a toucan, stuff like that, a chicken. Let me know if you have any ideas for other Birbs in the comments down below as well. Thank you so much again for watching. If you like this video, please like it down below, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and spread this pattern around. If you have another crocheter friend that you want to crochet some of these with you, you can easily share it by just going to clubcrochet.com/pigeon. If you have a friend that doesn't know how to crochet yet, but you really want to teach them how to crochet, you can really easily. I made a whole How to Crochet series. You can find that at crocheting101.com. But again, thank you so much for watching. Pasta la pizza. Happy hooking. Check out memberships on clubcrochet.com, and you can check out more of my patterns by going to clubcrochet.com/browse. And yeah, I guess that's about it. Thanks again for watching. Pasta la pizza and happy hooking. Bye.